वेरी गुड मॉर्निंग टू ऑल ऑफ यू। कैसे हैं सब लोग? सो योगेश, संजय एंड एवरीवन। So today topic is import, export, and then we will switch to the refund. Very important topic and very interesting topic. Practical, completely practical. So you have one question in front of you. Which one is zero rated supply? When SEZ is making the supply to the DTA or the DTA is making the supply to SEZ unit, which transaction you will tell, or both, which transaction you will say that it is zero rated supply? So select everyone name. So select everyone name, you will be मतलब आपको ड्रॉप डाउन में ऑप्शन मिलेगा। तो आंसर क्या है? आंसर इज DTA टू SEZ। आंसर इज DTA टू SEZ। ठीक है। So when you read the definition, of the zero rated supply, then you understand that supply to SEZ unit or developer is a zero rated supplies. Now tell me, which one is interstate supply? Which one is interstate supply? I'm asking the same question. Whether SEZ to the DTA is the interstate or DTA to SEZ is the interstate or both is the interstate. The answer is both. Very correct. Very correct. Last question. Whether SEZ, so in this I'm asking DTA to SEZ for authorized operation and not for authorized operation. Whether both are zero rated supply, or you can say 1 and 2 and 3 is the both. Tell me whether both are zero rated supplies or 1 or 2, which one is the zero rated supplies? Answer is for authorized operation is the zero rated supply. All the three questions you have given the correct answer. Now let's read the definition of zero rated supply, which says that zero rated supplies means any of the following supply. One is export, whether it is goods or services, it is always zero rated supply. And second is supply of the goods or services or both to the SEZ unit or developer. And now they have added the word for authorized operation. It means if you are making the supply to the said unit and it is for authorized operation, then only it is called zero rated. Otherwise, it is not zero rated. Correct? That you have given the correct answer. Now, what is the definition of import and export? The definition of import and export, again, we will divide in goods and services. First, talk about goods. If it is export of the goods means taking goods out of India for a place outside India, means taking goods out of India to a place outside India. And import of the goods means bringing the goods into India from a place outside India. What is the meaning? Do you need to see the whether amount is coming in the foreign currency or not? Do you need to see where the supplier is located, where the recipient is located? Do you need to see what is the place of supply? Nothing. In case of the goods, you are simply required to see whether physical movement is happening from India to out of India for export and out of India to India for import. That's it. But if I talk about service, then for export of service, there are 5 conditions. For import of service, there are 3 conditions. Now, these conditions is completely, matlab means all the condition has to be followed in order to say that transaction is export or import. Location of supplier is India. Location of recipient is outside India. Place of the supply is outside India. Payment should be made in the foreign currency, but from 1st Feb 2019, it says it can be in INR wherever permitted by Reserve Bank of India. It can be in INR wherever permitted by Reserve Bank of India. And relationship should be distinct person. Now, this is very important condition. This is very important condition. And again, there are some clarification for this condition also. There is no ambiguity with the first three condition. Can you tell me whether I will apply section 10, 11, 12 or 13 to determine the POS? We know that there are the four section 10, 11, 12, 13. The answer is IGST. Well, means I'm talking about IGST Act only. So place of the supply, we all know that there are four provision 10, 11, 12 and 13. There are the four section. Which section I will apply to determine the POS in this case? The place of the supply would be determined according to section. Yogesh, what is your answer? Right. It will be, Sanjay, it will be section 13. Why it will be section 13? Because 10 and 11 is for goods, 12 and 13 for services. So out of 12 and 13, 13 says when one party is in India, one party is outside India, then section 13 would be applied. So here I can say one party is in India, one party outside India. Therefore, the place of the supply in case of export or import, in both the cases, section 13 would be used to determine the POS. Is this point clear to all? Sanjay, clear hai na? Very simple. Now, in case of the import, is it condition? Is it condition that amount should be made in the Indian rupees or foreign currency? Whether there is any condition associated with import or service with respect to payment? Answer is no. It means when you are talking about export, then it is mandatory. The payment should be in foreign currency. Okay, it can be in INR wherever permitted by Reserve Bank of India. Okay. So we will read the circular also in this relation. And next is the relationship should be distinct person, means supplier and the recipient are not merely establishment of distinct person in accordance with explanation 1 to section 8. What is the meaning of this? We will read when I will reach to this point. And then there is a one circular 161 which clarify certain important point regarding the holding subsidiary, etc. Okay. Now, for export, there are two routes. I can do the export on payment of IGST or without payment of IGST, means that is under LUT or bond. Can you please tell me whether bond is now required or not at all required? Or I can furnish LUT in all cases to make the export without payment of IGST. Is it mandatory or not at all required? In one case it is required. Can you tell me which case it is required? In one case it is required. Let me ask you the question. Ki bond is mandatory. Bond is mandatory in one case. Can you tell me the one case? That case. किस केस में मुझे बॉन्ड चाहिएगा? I cannot furnish letter of undertaking. The answer is in case of the defaulter more than 250 lakhs, 2.5 करोड़ से ज्यादा टैक्स का अगर चोरी किया किसी ने, in that case he cannot do the export. He cannot do the export under LUT. If he like to do the export without payment of IGST, then he need to do by furnishing the bond. ठीक है? Then we will read the refund provision associated with that. In that case, will he get any refund? In this case, will he get any refund? So that we will discuss in the refund chapter. So the two classes is for export and import, and then balance two classes, I think it is for refund. Now, we have discussed 16 subsection 1 that zero rated supply means export and sales for authorized operation. Now it says that subject to the provision of 17 subsection 5. Can you tell me what is section 17 subsection 5? What is section 17 subsection 5? 17 subsection 5 क्या चीज का है? Can you please tell me? Seventeen subsection 5 is talking about the block credit. Is talking about the block credit, block input tax credit, right? So it says that subject to section 17 subsection 5, credit of ITC may be availed for zero rated supplies, notwithstanding such supply may be an exempt supply. Can you please tell that if your outward supply is exempted, can you take the ITC? Normal, I'm talking about the domestic transaction, not I'm talking about export import. Can you take the ITC if your outward supply is exempted? The answer is no. Why no? Can you tell me why no? Can you tell me why no? Can you tell me why no? Because we are not paying the tax on exempt supply. Okay. And if I will link the provision with respect to 17 subsection 2, which talks about 17 subsection 2, which talks about that if your outward supply is exempted, then you cannot take the ITC to the extent of exempt supply. Then zero rated supply is exempted. Can you take the ITC? If your zero rated supply is exempted, can you take the ITC? If you are making the export of exempted item, if you are making the export of exempted item, if you are making the export of exempted item, can you take the ITC? Answer is yes. Why yes? See, it is because of two main reasons. It is because of two main reasons. When you read the 17 subsection 2 of the CGST Act, you can easily recall that they are talking about taxable supply. They're talking about taxable supply, including zero rated supply. They're talking about taxable supplies, including zero rated supplies. Yes or no? It means the zero rated supply is always the taxable supplies, whether underlying item is taxable or exempted. Point number one. Second, the 16 subsection 2 clarify that you can claim the ITC even though outward supply of the zero rated is exempted. Even though your outward supply is exempted, correct? Now, a registered person making zero rated supplies shall be eligible to claim the refund of unutilized ITC on supply of the goods or service or both without payment of integrated tax under bond or letter of undertaking in accordance with the section 54, subject to the condition as we may prescribed. We'll discuss. But it says that if you are making the zero rated supply, then you are eligible to claim the refund of what? Unutilized ITC. You can claim the refund of what? Unutilized ITC. So it means in this case, if I am making export after payment of IGST, I will take the refund of the GST paid. Whatever I have paid the IGST, I will take the refund of that. But here I am not making the payment of IGST. Still, I can take the ITC, I can take the refund. I can take the refund as per 16 subsection 3. It is 16 subsection 3. एक बार मुझे बताएंगे, can you please tell me 16 subsection 3 is for CGST or is for IGST Act? Whatever we are reading, is that CGST or is that IGST? Answer is IGST. CGST in export import place of the supply chapter, we are reading the provision of IGST Act. Okay. So this is IGST Act. So I can claim the refund even I am making without payment of IGST. Yes, I can take the refund, but refund of what? Unutilized ITC. Further proviso was added, which says that registered person making the zero rated supply, registered person making the zero rated supply in case of non-realization of sale proceed. This proviso is applicable for goods or services or both. Answer is goods. Okay. In case of non-realization of sale proceed means I have exported the goods but I could not bring the foreign currency. Be liable to deposit the refund so received under this subsection along with interest within 30 days. What is the time limit? Time limit is as per the FEMA. It means the one important question, if I'm talking about export of goods, if I'm talking about export of the goods, and if I'm talking about export of the service, in this case, can I take the refund before realization? Can I take the refund before realization of the foreign currency? Answer is yes. In this case, let me complete first goods. In this case, if amount is not received, within 30 days, then I have to pay back. जो भी मैंने receive किया, I have to give back to the government along with interest. Now tell me one thing, sir. Tell me one thing. Now, why this proviso is for goods? Why not for services? Tell me why this proviso is for goods? Why not for services? Are they not very strict for the services? Is it? They like to promote the service? Is it? I'm asking the question, why the proviso is for goods, not for services? If you, Sanjay, Yogesh, why not for goods? Why not for services? Why only for goods? Any idea? Goods can be brought back. Okay. Okay. Why not services? Because you cannot apply the refund. You cannot apply the refund till the time you do not bring the foreign currency. In case of export of services, you can't apply the refund without FIRC or BIRC. So it means you are taking the refund only when you receive the amount. If you have received the amount, then you are taking the refund. Obviously, there is no question of refund giving back to the government in non-realization. Is that clear? ठीक है. So 30 days याद रखना almost. Now we will discuss. There are multiple points which we will discuss in the refund chapter. 16 subsection 4 says government on the recommendation of the council and subject to the condition by notification specify that class of the person who make the zero rated supply on IGST and claim the refund of the tax so paid. They will also specify the class of the goods and services. In clause 1, they says they will specify the class of the person, and in the second clause they say that they will specify the class of the goods or services. For what purpose? For export on IGST. It means you cannot export on IGST in all the cases or LUT in all the cases. They will specify some notification, or they will specify some class of the goods, some class of the person who can do so. Now tell me, any restriction on LUT on payment of IGST? So one, we have already discussed that defaulter exporter under the law cannot export under LUT. One restriction. Any other restriction on any class? You cannot do the export on LUT or you cannot do the export on IGST. Any idea? See, one restriction we have discussed, that if someone is defaulter, he cannot do the export under LUT. He has to do the export either on payment of IGST or under bond, if without payment of IGST. He cannot do the LUT route. Now, my question is, do you know any other such restriction which talks about that some class of the person, some class of the goods cannot be exported by this route or by this route? We'll discuss later on. Deemed export is not the export, correct? So the deemed export is not the export. So there is no question of LUT route. So it is applicable on zero rated supply. Very good point that you raised. See, whether deemed export can be under LUT route, answer is no. It is not because of subsection 4. It is because that zero rated supply does not include deemed export. It is deemed export is not the zero rated supplies. Deemed export is not the zero rated supplies, not the zero rated supplies. Okay. Now what is that? Let's read some circular, some clarification we will read. Okay. We will read, you will matlab ki with respect to this point also we will discuss ki what are the restrictions. Same answer. Merchant export and deemed export are both are not zero rated supply. Both are not zero rated supply, and therefore the LUT route is not at all available with them. They have to make the payment of IGST or CGST, SGST, whatever the tax is applicable, and subsequently they can take the refund. Now, we'll read one by one circular and try to understand the relaxation or restriction. So, abhi hum स्पेसिफिकली हम बात नहीं कर रहे 16 सबसेक्शन 4 की. Currently we are not talking about 16 subsection 4 specifically. I am talking about all. I have discussed all the provision. Now let's discuss the relevant circular. First, talk about that circular 78. It says that if the full consideration is not received by the exporter, what happened? Mr. A, who is exporter to Mr. John, let's say $100. ठीक है, $1,000. Then he has outsourced certain work to Mr. Bronch. Now he has received the work from Mr. John of $1,000. Mr. A has outsourced that work of $600. Now Mr. John is making the payment of $400 to Mr. A and $600 directly to Mr. Bronch. Let's say if it is this arrangement, then can we say that Mr. A received the amount in the foreign currency? Answer is no. Will he get the entire 1,000 rupees, $1,000 in the bank? No. He will get only $400 as per the arrangement. Now, will it be export or not? That we will discuss. See, in this example, there are the two services. Supply of the service from exporter in India, that is Mr. A, to the recipient of the service located outside India, that is Mr. John. ठीक है. Then second is import of service by the exporter of the service located in India, that is Mr. A, and from the supplier located outside India, that is Mr. Branch. ठीक है. Therefore, the total value of the service as agreed in the contract, that is $1,000, will be considered as export if all other conditions are satisfied. It is clarified that supplier of service located in India would be liable to pay RCM. In this example, can you please tell me on which amount he need to pay the tax under RCM? In this example, can you tell me on which amount Mr. A is liable to pay the tax under RCM? The answer is $600. On that portion of the service and would be eligible for taking the ITC of the integrated tax so paid. Thus, even if the full consideration is not received in the convertible foreign exchange, as recipient of the service has directly paid to the supplier located outside India for the outsourcing part, that portion of the consideration shall also be treated as export of the service in terms of 264. I hope it is clear, correct? Now it says that provided that IGST paid by the supplier, integrated tax paid by the supplier for import of service on that portion has been directly provided by the supplier located outside India to the recipient directly paid, and the RBI by general or specific approval has allowed that a part of the consideration may be retained outside India. Okay. So you can read this example. ABC Limited India has received an order for supply of the service of rupees $5 lakh to the US based clients. ABC India asked XYZ Mexico, who is not merely establishment of the distinct person, in accordance with explanation 1 to section 8, to supply the part of the service say 40%, ABC India shall be the exporter of service for the entire value. If the invoice for the entire value is raised by the ABC, the service provided by XYZ Mexico shall be import by ABC Limited India and liable under reverse charge. Further, if the provision contained are not fulfilled with respect to realization, say only 60% is received and remaining amount is directly paid, then Mexico, even in such case, 100% of the total contract value shall be considered as export of service by ABC India, provided integrated tax has, RCM has been paid and integrated tax on import of service has been paid on that part of the service which is provided by outside India to outside India. And RBI has allowed the part of the consideration for such export can be retained outside India. I hope it is clear. No, simple. Now, very important transaction. In first, there is two example or there is 2 point I like to clarify here. Any question? Okay, fine. The first point is whether so in India, there is a branch office, agency, or the representation office in India for the company located outside India. So there is a company in the USA who has the branch office, agency, or the representation office. They are providing any support service or any back office work, and they are raising the invoice, receiving the amount in the foreign currency, place of the supplies also outside India. Will it be export of the service? This question is based on the fifth condition only. I like to discuss only the fifth condition. That supplier, what is the fifth condition? Let me go back. The fifth condition is supplier and the recipient of the service are not merely establishment of a distinct person in accordance with explanation 1 to section 8. Okay. So we will read explanation 1 to section 8. We will read also the circular and try to understand in which cases they will be considered, supplier and the recipient would be considered not merely establishment of distinct person, and in which case it will be considered. So the first case, out of India company has the branch office or the agency or the representation office in India. And in the second case, the whole company located out of India is having the subsidiary company in India, in which case it will be export of service as per your understanding. Case number 1 or case number 2. Example, you can say that this is example 1 and example 2. Or in both the cases, it will be export of service. Okay. Yogesh is saying 1 no, second yes, 1 no. Ayush is saying first. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Fifth condition talk about that supplier and the recipient should be the establishment of distinct person or should not be the establishment of distinct person. Fifth condition क्या कहता है? Should be the establishment of distinct person or should not be the establishment of distinct person. क्या कहता है ये? Should not be. Should not be. Correct. The fifth condition क्या कहता है? They should not be the distinct person. It means somehow they should not be related party. Now, It also says that in relation to, मैं वापस again I'm going back to the again and again I'm going back to the fifth condition because somehow the language are typical. The supplier and the recipient are not merely establishment of distinct person and in accordance with the section 8 ka explanation 1. Now read what is the section 8 of explanation 1. It says that an establishment in India and any other establishment outside India, that's it. Then these establishments shall be treated as an establishment of distinct person. Okay. Now read the explanation 2 and club with the explanation 1. Explanation 2 is nothing but the subset of explanation 1. What the explanation 2 says? A person carrying the business through the branch, agency, or the representational office shall be treated as having an establishment in that territory. क्या मतलब हुआ कि अगर कोई पर्सन बिजनेस कैरी कर रहा है, किस तरीके से इन्होंने 3 फॉर्म किया है. रिमेंबर दीज 3 फॉर्म्स: ब्रांच, एजेंसी और द रिप्रेजेंटेशनल ऑफिस in any territory shall be treated the establishment in that territory. So it means if you have the establishment in one territory and other establishment outside that territory, they will be treated as an establishment of the distinct person. Try to understand this point. Clarify. This point says that if you are having the branch office in India and other office outside India, you will branch offices. The branch offices establishment in India. So it means now the explanation 2 club with the explanation 1. Answer of the explanation 2 club with the explanation 1. So because you are the branch in India, so it means the branch office is considered as territory establishment in India. And once it is an establishment in India, in that case, you both would be treated as establishment of distinct person. And fifth condition says that you should be the establishment of the distinct person or you should not be the establishment of distinct person. Answer is not. So because fifth condition required that you should not be the establishment of distinct person, in this example, because you are the establishment of distinct person, you are the establishment of distinct person, therefore it cannot be treated as export of the service. Why? Because all the 5 condition has to be satisfied. See, all 5 condition has to be satisfied. Might be satisfied supplier in India, satisfied customer located outside India, satisfied place of the supply should be outside India, satisfied. Let's say amount is also being received in the foreign currency, satisfied. But fifth condition is not satisfied. Why? Because of the explanation to section 8 says that this will be treated as an establishment of distinct person. And fifth condition says it should not be the establishment of the distinct person, correct? And therefore the fifth condition is not satisfied. Make sense? Now, correct now. See, Ayush, the transaction would be supply. There is no doubt. Now, within the supply, will it be export or not? The answer is no. Then what would be the answer? अभी नहीं संजय, अभी तो हम फर्स्ट की बात करें. We are talking about currently first one. Currently we are talking about first one. Second I have to discuss. For this there is a specific circular 161 which I will talk about. तो आयुष, ये ट्रांजेक्शन एक्सपोर्ट ऑफ सर्विस नहीं होगा. It is not export of the service. But will it be a supply? Obviously, yes. You need to pay the tax. Yes, this person, Indian party, has to pay the tax. or not? Will he have to pay? So is it a supply or not? Yes, it is a supply. Now, very good question. Let me answer in this way. Is it a supply or not? Answer is yes, it is a supply. Now, is it zero rated supply? Answer is no, it is not zero rated supply. Is it zero rated supply or not zero rated supply? So here you come to the conclusion, not zero rated supply. It means you need to pay the tax. It means you need to pay the tax. Am I right? It means you need to pay the tax. Just confirm. Not sure. Not sure. Why not sure? Because I'm not saying for this transaction specifically, I'm generally talking about if the transaction is supply, it can be taxable supply, it can be exempt supply. See, can't it be exempt supply? Government in any notification they have given that this service is exempted. Then would you require to pay the tax? Answer is no. Correct. So Ayush, what I mean to say, it is a supply, but it is not zero rated. Correct. So you cannot take the benefit of refund, you cannot take the benefit of LUT, etc. It means it is a supply which is not zero rated. So now, do you need to pay the tax? It depends. We need to see the exemption notification. If any exemption associated with this transaction, then answer would be no, I am not required to pay the tax. Let me come to that point only. In this case, let me directly talk about. There is a serial number 10F of the exemption notification. In this case, serial number 10F of the exemption notification, it says that an establishment in India provide the service supplied by an establishment of a person in India to an establishment of that person outside India, which are treated as establishment of distinct person, are exempted, and therefore it can it be export or service? Answer is no. Do they need to pay the tax? Answer is no. Now my question to all, then what is the difference? Then what is the problem? See, my transaction will be considered as export, then I will go for LUT. If my transaction is not taxable, it means I'm not required to pay the tax. So my mean to say, in both the cases, what is the difference then? See, at one side you are saying it is not export, at the other side you are saying that it is exempted. What is the problem then? Does it mean that both are same? Can I say both are same only now? Give me the answer. Can we say the both are same? Nothing difference now. What is the difference in that case? See, if you are making the taxable, then I can say because it is not zero rated, you need to pay the tax. Now you are saying it is not zero rated, fine, but it is exempted also. Then what is the problem? What is the problem? Both are same, I can say. Think and then give me the answer. 50% correct, Yogesh. Tell me 50% more. I need 2 points from you. One part you have correctly answered. One part is still left. I'm giving you 2 minutes. Think and then give me the answer. What is the second part that you have left? Or anybody? Very nice, beta. Very nice. Here, in first case, you will be granted the refund. You will be granted the refund, but kya you can take the refund? Answer is no. In second, one point. Second point that here you can not required to pay the tax. Sorry, let me repeat again once again. See, first, here you can go for LUT, and here you are not required to pay the tax. Here you can take the refund of accumulated ITC, and here you can take no refund of accumulated ITC. Third, no reversal of ITC But here I can say you need to do the reversal of ITC. Why? Because of 17 subsection 2, which talks about that it is exempted supply, then proportionate ITC need to be reversed. Is that clear? Correct. So let's come back. Now, second point, that is the subsidiary company making the export of service to the making the supply of the service. I cannot say that whether it will be export or not. So that is my underlying question. So the question is, if the subsidiary company provide the service to the holding company, back office work. Now we all know that in India there are multiple KPO BPO services are being rendered to the holding company located out of India. So there are various MNC company who works only for providing the KPO services or providing the back support services, back office work is being handled in India. So now the service provided by the back office KPO BPO to the holding company located out of India, will it also be treated as an establishment of distinct person that we have discussed right now? Or it will not fall in that category and they will continue to be treated as export of the service? Means fifth condition is satisfied. Means they are establishment of the distinct person or they are not the establishment of distinct person. अगर इस ट्रांजेक्शन को एक्सपोर्ट कहना है तो व्हाट वी शुड से, नॉट बी डिस्टिंक्ट पर्सन और शुड बी द डिस्टिंक्ट पर्सन. अगर मुझे सब्सिडरी टू होल्डिंग कंपनी को एक्सपोर्ट ऑफ सर्विस कहना है तो व्हाट शुड बी माय आंसर, दैट इट दे शुड नॉट बी द establishment of the distinct person or they should be the establishment of distinct person? Answer is absolutely correct. The fifth condition says that should not be the establishment of distinct person. Now we need to read the circular 161. Now we need to read the circular 161, what it says. Clarification regarding export of the service, that is to be fifth condition. They are saying that export of the service place the condition that one establishment of that person to the another establishment of the same person considered as establishment of the distinct person as per the explanation and therefore cannot be the export. In other words, in supply of the service by an establishment of the foreign company in India to any other establishment of the said company outside India will not be covered under the definition of export of service. Okay. So further, on perusal of the explanation 2, if a foreign company is conducting the business in India through the branch, agency or the representation office, then the said branch or agency or the representational office located in India shall be treated as an establishment of the said person, shall be treated as establishment of the said company in India. Similarly, if company, very important, incorporated in India is operating through the branch or the agency or the representation office in any country outside India. See, vice versa, whatever example we have taken. Okay, now let's say company is in India and it has the branch office outside India, then also it will be treated as establishment of the company in that country and therefore it cannot be the export of service also. Okay. But it's one second. But it says so but it says that if you are established in India as separate company, like subsidiary company, Circular 161, second part is not there, but let me repeat. Circular 161 says that if the company are operated through subsidiary company separately established in that territory according to their laws, in that case, it will not be treated as establishment of distinct person. तो वो distinct person नहीं माने जाएंगे. अगर वो distinct person नहीं माने जाएंगे, then what is the answer? It will continue to be export of service. Absolutely correct, beta. Absolutely correct. So let's take a break of 10 minutes. Let's take a break of 10 minutes and then we will resume and start with the deemed export part. ठीक है अशोक जी. I have opened that circular from the government website and let's read the circular to understand more detail. So that was clarification related to the export of the service and fifth condition. Okay. Various representation has been received citing the ambiguity caused in interpretation of explanation 1 to section 8 under IGST in relation to the fifth condition of export of the service. Doubt has been raised whether supply of the service by the subsidiary company, by the sister concern, or by the group company, etc., of the foreign company in India, which is incorporated under the law in India, to the foreign company will hit by fifth condition or not. Okay. The matter has been examined in view of the difficulties being faced by the trade and industry, and to ensure uniform practice, the board, in exercise of the power given in 168, clarify. What they clarify? They are saying that export of the service has been defined in section 2 clause 6. We all know that export of service means the supply the service when the supplier of the service is located in India, recipient is located outside India, place of the supply is outside India, and the payment has been received in the foreign currency. And the supplier of the service and the recipient of the service are not merely establishment of distinct person in accordance with explanation 1 to section 8. So क्या मतलब हुआ? Supplier and the recipient are not merely establishment of distinct person. ठीक है. Then explanation 1 to section 8 of IGST provide that for the purpose of this act, where the person has an establishment in India and any other establishment outside India, point number 1, and an establishment in a state or any other establishment outside that state, or third is an establishment in the state. Okay. So concept of business vertical is now done away. So that part you can ignore. As per the above explanation, establishment in India and another establishment outside India are considered as establishment of the distinct person. So you won't believe that there are multiple refund application is being rejected on this ground. Why it has been rejected? They are saying that explanation 1 says. So in that case, they will never reach to the explanation 2. No one has reached to the explanation 2 before this circular I am talking about. What they were doing? They were reading that fifth condition. How they are interpreting their fifth condition? They are saying that it should not be the establishment of the distinct person. And they have given the reference of explanation 1. So we will go to the explanation 1 only. So explanation 1 says that in India and other establishment outside India, it will be treated as an establishment of distinct person. They are jumping to this point that section 2 clause 6, fifth condition, has linked with the explanation 1. Explanation 1 simply says if you have the establishment in India and establishment outside India, it means it will be treated as establishment of distinct person only. And because it is distinct person, and therefore your transaction is not export of service. Now they have first time they have referred explanation 2 and linked with the explanation 1 by the circular. They are saying a reference is also invited to the explanation 2. A person carrying the business through the branch, representation office, and agency. 3 terms they have used. They've even linked the definition of the person. Person include individual, HUF, and company. See, a person carrying the business through the branch, agency, or the representational office. And the word person has been further defined, which include the company. And body corporate, incorporated under law of the country outside India. Now they have interpreted the definition of the company and the foreign company as per the Companies Act. Company means any company incorporated under this act or under the previous company law. And foreign company means any company or body corporate incorporated outside India, which has the place in India, whether by itself or through the agent, physically or through electronic mode, conduct any business activity in India or any other manner. So now they are doing the analysis. Clause 5 of subsection 6 of section 2, which define the export of the service, place the condition that service provided by one establishment of a person to another establishment of same person consider the establishment of the distinct person. Now try to understand. They are linking. एक second, fifth condition में वापस आता हूं मैं. Supplier and the recipient are not merely establishment of distinct person. So they are saying they should belong to the same person. They should belong to the same person. Cannot be treated as export. In other words, any supply of the service by an establishment of the foreign company in India to another establishment of the said foreign company outside India will not be covered. Very true. Further, explanation 2 suggests that if the foreign company is conducting the business in India through the branch, agency or the representational office, that the said branch or the agency or the representational office shall be treated as an establishment of the said foreign company in India. Similarly, if any company incorporated in India is operating through the branch or the agency or the representational office outside India, then that branch or agency or the representational office shall be treated as an establishment of the said company in that country. In view of the above, it can be stated that supply of the service made by the branch or the agency or the representational office of a foreign company not incorporated in India to any establishment of the said foreign company outside India shall be treated as a supply between distinct person. Correct, Ayush? Shall be treated as a supply between these distinct person but not be considered as export. Correct? ये आपका वाला पॉइंट आ गया यहाँ पर. It has been covered. Similarly, any supply of the service by the company incorporated in India to its branch, agency, or the representational office located in any other country, not in. See, they are giving the focus not incorporated under the law. They are giving the focus not incorporated in under any other law under that country or in India, not incorporated in India. Correct? So they are giving the reference. Shall also be the same answer. From the perusal of the definition of the person, company and foreign company. Okay. It is observed that a company incorporated in India and foreign company incorporated outside India are separate person. Thus, a subsidiary company, sister concern or group concern of any foreign company which is incorporated in India, then the said company incorporated in India will be considered as separate person under the provision of the GST and accordingly would be considered as a separate legal entity than the foreign company. In view of the above, it is clarified that company incorporated in India and body corporate incorporated under the law of the country outside India, which is also referred to as a foreign company in Companies Act, are separate person and thus are separate legal entities. Accordingly, these two separate persons would not be considered as mere establishment of distinct person in accordance with explanation 1 to section 8. They have concluded, therefore, supply of the service by the subsidiary company, sister concern or group concern of the foreign company which is incorporated in India under the Companies Act to the establishment of the said foreign company located outside India and that also incorporated outside India. Because they are incorporated outside India, so they will fall under the definition of the foreign company in the Companies Act. ठीक है, and would not be barred by the fifth condition, would not hit by fifth condition, and for being considered as export or service, as it would not be treated the supply between merely establishment of distinct person. Similarly, the supply from the company incorporated in India to its related establishment outside India, which are incorporated under the law outside India, would also not be treated as supply to merely establishment of distinct person. Such supply, therefore, would qualify as export of the service. So I hope now it is completely clear to all of us. ठीक है. Okay. So what is the reason? What is the logic? It's better to read the complete circular. Take some time, but yes, it is okay. Okay. Now let's move further. Let's read the study material also to some part. Then we'll move to the definition of the deemed export, merchant export, etc. Okay. So this is import and export under GST. That let's leave the definition part. Levy of the IGST on import of the goods. Let's read the section 5. Subject to the provision of subsection 2, there shall be levied a tax called IGST, Integrated Goods and Service Tax, on all interstate supply except on alcoholic liquor, etc., not exceeding 40%. Proviso says that integrated tax on goods other than the goods as may be notified by the government on the recommendation of the council. Let me repeat again. Provided that integrated tax on goods other than the goods as may be notified by the government on the recommendation of the council imported into India shall be levied and collected in accordance with the provision of the Section 3 of the Custom Act on the value as determined under the said Act at the point when the duties of the custom are levied on the said goods under Section 12 of the Custom Act. What it says, that integrated tax on goods, IGST on the goods imported into India shall be levied and collected in accordance with custom. Can you tell me why they have excluded other than? Can you give me the example why they have excluded other than? Can you give me the example of this exclusion? कौन से ऐसे इंपोर्ट ऑफ गुड्स हैं, कौन से ऐसे इंपोर्ट ऑफ द गुड्स हैं जो टैक्सेबल नहीं होते अकॉर्डिंग टू द कस्टम? ओवर टू यू, वेटिंग फॉर योर आंसर. I have discussed in the okay. Any other answer? So since they are taxable, might be there would be exemption. So again, I talked about now taxable supply may be having some tax rate or may be exempted. So accordingly, there would be some exemption over there, but they will come under this purview. Why they are saying other than the goods which as may be notified by the government on the recommendation of the council? Any answer? The answer is OMG. Oh my God. What is the answer? Online money gaming. See, if the supplier is outside India, is providing the online money gaming, whether online money gaming is goods or service. Multiple time I've clarified in the previous classes. Online money gaming is goods or service. Multiple time I've clarified, right? It is goods. So someone it is providing from out of India to India. Will it be routed through custom territory? Will it be routed through custom? क्या ये custom में आएगा and someone will file the bill of entry for that online money gaming? Answer is no. It is intangible goods. It is goods but intangible. It is not tangible goods. It is intangible. Similarly, like electricity. I'm not talking about this point. Otherwise, I'm talking about electricity is also the intangible goods. Right? Huh? So electricity, we will talk about the refund. In refund, I will talk about in detail. Okay. So leave that part. But currently, I'm focusing on other than goods as may be notified means online money gaming. So if the supplier is located out of India, recipient in India, it is import of the goods in my hand. Will it be levied through custom? Answer is no, because they have excluded that. So where it will be included? Let's move further, then we will understand. Imported into India shall be levied and collected in accordance with the provision of Section 3 on the value as determined under the said act at the point when the duties of the customs are levied on the said goods under Section 12. Interstate supply, as we know, that supply of the goods imported into India till the cross custom frontier of India shall be treated as supply of the goods in the course of interstate trade or commerce. We all know that import of the goods is nothing but the interstate supply. Correct? Then section 11, place of the supply of the goods imported into or exported from India. Okay. So section 11 would be applied to determine the place of the supply. Levy of the custom. Let's read the section 12 of the Custom Act. Except as otherwise provided in this act or any other law for the time being in force. Duties of the custom shall be levied at such rate as may be specified under the Custom Tariff Act or any other law for the time being in force on goods imported or exported. The provision shall not apply in respect of the goods belonging to the government as they apply in respect to the goods not belonging to the government. Okay. Provision for collection of IGST on imported goods and warehouse goods sold from the custom warehouse as also for determination of their valuation under the section 3. What is the section 3? It says that an article which is imported into India in addition be liable to the integrated tax at such rate not exceeding 40% as leviable under section 5 on a like article on its supply in India on the value of imported article as determined in subsection 8 and subsection 8A. Subsection 8 says, for the purpose of calculating the integrated tax under subsection 7 on any imported article where such tax is leviable at any percentage of its value, the value of imported article shall, notwithstanding anything contained in section 14, be the aggregate of clause A, the value of the imported article determined under section 14 subsection 1 or the tariff such fixed on that particular subsection 2 and any duties of the customs chargeable on that article under section 12 and any sum chargeable on that article under any law for the time being in force as in addition to and in the same manner as it duties of the custom but does not include the tax referred to in subsection 7 of the cess. Similarly, subsection 8A, where the goods deposited in the warehouse under the provision of the custom are sold to any person before filing the bill of entry for home consumption or export under the said act, the value of the goods for the purpose of calculating IGST shall be the value of the whole goods are sold, the value determined in subsection 8 or the transaction value, whichever is higher, and where any port, where any part of the goods is sold, the proportionate value of the such goods sold as determined in subsection 8 or the transaction value, whichever is higher, provided that whole of the warehouse goods or any part thereof are sold more than once before such clearance for home consumption, the transaction value of the last transaction shall be the transaction value for the purpose of clause A or the clause B. Now, here, can you recall something, some entry of the schedule 3? Can you recall some entry of the schedule 3? क्या आप शेड्यूल 3 को रिकॉल कर सकते हो? कोई एंट्री? कैन यू गिव मी द हिंट ऑफ सम एंट्री ऑफ द शेड्यूल 3 आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट? Very nice, Sanjay. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. So, entry number 8, clause A, sale of the warehouse goods before filing the bill of entry for home consumption. Will it be taxable? If something is fall under the schedule 3, will it be taxable? No, it will not be taxable. It will not be taxable. And the custom provision says that on the last entry, who is filing the bill of entry for home consumption, the recipient will have to pay the tax. So now if I am a supplier, I have warehouse goods, but I have sold before filing the bill of entry for home consumption to you. Like Sanjay, I have sold to you before filing the entry for home consumption. So will it be taxable in my hand? Answer is no. But once you file the bill of entry for home consumption, you have to pay the respective IGST. ठीक है? Any implication on me? Any implication on me because of this entry? Any implication on me because of this entry? Can you link with the ITC chapter? Can you link this entry with the ITC chapter? Can you link this entry with the ITC chapter? ITC reversal. Tell me the two entries out of which one I have answered or you have answered that schedule 3 does not require the reversal of ITC except two entry. The first entry you already discussed, that para 8A, that is sale of the warehouse goods before home consumption. It required the reversal of common ITC because it is exempted supply as per section 17 subsection 3. There is one more entry. There are two entry of the schedule 3 which are considered as exempt and which attract the reversal. Can you help me to recall? Nine? No, Sanjay? No? Nine? Yogesh, no. RCM is not covered in the schedule 3. See, I am talking, Yogesh, I am talking about schedule 3 transaction. See, RCM is covered in the 17 subsection 3. RCM is considered as exempt supply. Very true. But I am talking about which two entries of the schedule 3 which are out of GST but attract the reversal. One, you have given the answer, Sanjay, and everyone has given the answer supported. The para 8A, which talks about supply the warehouse goods before home consumption. So now I'm talking about second entry, which is the schedule 3 entry, but attract the reversal. That is point I'm talking about. See, this type of the interlinking is very, very important. Why important? Because sometime you see that first question which is there in the exam, might be consist of the various provision in the law. See, for example, that entry. So will you create the tax liability? No. But when you calculate the ITC, when you calculate the exempt supply, you will add that. देख, वापस रिपीट करता हूं ये बात हिंदी में. अब सेल ऑफ वेयर हाउस गुड्स फॉर होम कंजम्पशन है आपकी. एग्जाम के क्वेश्चन में दिया है, क्या आप टैक्स लाइबिलिटी बनाओगे इसके ऊपर? विल यू कैलकुलेट द टैक्स लाइबिलिटी ऑन द सेल ऑफ द वेयर हाउस गुड्स बिफोर होम कंजम्पशन? Will you create the tax liability on that? Answer is no, because it is covered in the schedule 3. It is covered in the schedule 3. But जब आप reversal of ITC की बात करेंगे, then in the exempt supply you will add that sale of the warehouse goods for home consumption. You will add that sale of the warehouse goods for home consumption. Why? Because definition of the exempt supply given in section 17 subsection 3 has enlarged the meaning of the exempt supply. They have added this para 80 as well as para 5, that is sale of land and completed building, subject to schedule 2 para. See, so I'm talking about which are the two entries of the schedule 3. एक दो warehouse goods before filing the bill of entry for home consumption, and second is sale of land. So these two entries are not create the liability because it is covered in the schedule 3. But if you talk about the reversal of ITC in the calculation of exempt supply, you will add. So this part is somehow missed. ये वाला जो कैलकुलेशन का पार्ट है ना, ये कहीं ना कहीं स्टूडेंट से मिस हो जाता है. सो जो सेल लाइबिलिटी में क्रेडिट किया ना, उसी को हम एड लेस कर देते हैं. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं. Provided that in respect of the warehouse goods which remain unsold, the value of the proportionate value as the case may be shall be determined in accordance with the provision of subsection 8. For the purpose of this subsection, the expression transaction value in relation to the warehouse goods means the amount paid or payable as consideration for the sale of the such goods. The duties or the taxes, as the case may be, chargeable under this section shall be in addition to any other duties or taxes or cess as the case may be imposed under this act or under any other law for the time being in force. The duties or taxes or cess as the case may be chargeable under this section shall be in addition to any other duties or tax or cess as the case may be imposed under this act or under any other law for the time being in force. 14A, actionable claim. Special provision for the specified actionable claim by a person located outside taxable territory. So जिसकी बात हम कर रहे थे ना ऑनलाइन मनी गेमिंग की, now we are going to discuss that. Supply of any point? Supply of online money gaming as defined in section 2 clause 80B not located in the taxable territory shall in respect of the supply of online money gaming by him to the person in the taxable territory be liable to pay integrated tax on that supply. A supplier of online money gaming as defined in section 2 clause 80B not located in the taxable territory shall in respect of the supply of the online money gaming by him to a person in the taxable territory be liable to pay IGST. So will it be covered under reverse charge or will it be forward charge? Now, this difference you need to understand. See, there are two transactions. One is online money gaming and one is OIDAR. Let me open that particular slide so that we can understand better. See, when you talk about online money gaming, if they provide the supply to India to the registered person or unregistered person. Similarly, OIDAR, providing the supply in India to the registered person and to the unregistered person. Okay. Now 1, 2, 3, 4. Give me the answer. 1 forward charge reverse charge, 2 forward charge reverse charge, 3 and 4. Give me the answer whether it will be under FCM or RCM in 1, 2, 3, 4. Give me your answer. आई थिंक संजय थोड़ा सा ना मतलब कुछ ओवरलैप कुछ स्लिप हुआ है. 3 इज रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन एंड 4 इज अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन. ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है. आई गॉट इट आई गॉट इट गॉट इट. ओके आई गॉट संजय सिंह कि FCM FCM and then RCM then FCM. Any other answer? Yogesh is also same thing. Okay. And Ayush. Answer is correct. Absolutely correct. Now the only point which I like to highlight that this part and this part. Online money gaming is goods and OIDR is goods or service? OIDR. OIDAR is a goods or service? Very nice, sir. Very nice. Service. This provision is covered in section 14 capital A and this provision is covered in section 14. Okay. So now only point that even online money gaming supply has been given to the registered person. It will also be taxable under forward charge. It means they need to pay the tax under forward charge. But if OIDAR service provided in India to the registered person, then the recipient RCM will be applicable. Okay. Absolutely correct. So, be liable to be paid under IGST for the purpose of complying the subsection 1. The online money gaming supplier shall obtain the single registration under the simplified registration scheme as referred to in section 14 subsection 2. So same like online information database access retrieval services OIDAR are also obtaining the simplified registration. They are also obtaining the single registration in India. Similar provision has been extended to the online money gaming. They are being provided that any person located in the taxable territory representing that supplier for any purpose in the taxable territory shall get registered and pay the IGST on behalf of the supplier. Provided further that if such supplier does not have the physical presence and does not have the representative, then what happen? He shall appoint the person in the taxable territory for the purpose of paying IGST, and that person shall be liable for the payment of such tax. In case failure to comply with the provision of subsection 1 and subsection 3 by the supplier of online money gaming or a person appointed by such supplier or both, notwithstanding anything contained in section 69 capital A, any information generated. Let's read first once again. In case of the failure to comply with the subsection 1, pay the IGST, subsection 2, single registration, by the supplier of online money gaming or the person appointed by such supplier, notwithstanding anything contained in section 69 capital A of IT Act, any information generated, transmitted, received, or hosted in any computer resource used for the supply of the online money gaming by such a supplier shall be liable to be blocked for access by public in such manner as specified in the act, in the said act. Meaning thereby they can block the website, etc. Whatever you have given app, they can block that particular computer resource. See. So one second. Let me see that if some part is being left. So this is like bill of entry. They have given the format of the bill of entry for home consumptions. Taxable value for leaving the IGST. So value of the IGST on import of the goods, value determined under section 14 of the Custom Act, plus now section 14, not IGST, it is custom. Basic custom duty plus any other sum leviable under any law for the timing in force as custom duty excluding IGST and CGST. Quickly tell me why the taxes are being added for calculating the IGST on import of the goods. Why these taxes are being added? Why the taxes are being added, are added to determine the IGST on import of the goods? You can easily tell me some provision which allow to add. So is it not tax on tax? Is it not tax on tax? So you are calculating the IGST by adding the custom duty. Is it not tax on tax? Then why it is being added? In my understanding, it should be excluded. If I'm saying in my understanding, it should be excluded. What is your counter argument? Section 15, subsection 2, clause A of the CGST Act says that any taxes, duties, cess leviable under any law other than GST should be added in the value. Because of the section 15, subsection 2, clause A, we are adding the value of custom duty. We are adding the custom duty in the value to determine the levy of GST and any other sum leviable under any law excluding IGST and compensation cess, because 15 subsection 2 clause A says so. ठीक है. Applicability of custom duty on bonded warehouse, that we have discussed, that I'm leaving for the time being. Taxability of high seas sale. Now tell me whether high seas sale is taxable or not taxable. Whether high seas sale is taxable or not taxable. Answer is no. Why no? Why no? You are saying fully agree with you, but I'm asking why no? Reason? No. Not cleared for home consumption. Okay. Okay. Any other answer? Any other answer? Any other answer? Let me open the respective chapter of the book. अगर मुझे just give me 1 minute. Yogesh, Sanjay, anyone? Yes. This is the Schedule 3 and Para 8b. I have opened your chapter, supply chapter only, wherein I open the Para 8b, which talks about supply of the goods by the consignee to any other person by endorsement of the document of the title to the goods after the goods have been dispatched from the port but before the clearance for the home consumption. So fully agree with you because they have not filed the bill of entry for home consumption. So therefore, see, when the bill of entry for the home consumption is not filed and it is being sold, either the goods were on the high sea or were goods lying in the custom bonded warehouse. In both the cases, the GST is not payable. But point to be remember, what is the difference in these two entry? This attract the reversal of ITC because it is considered as exempt supply, because it is considered as exempt supply only for the purpose of reversal of common ITC. And this is no reversal attract because it is not considered as exempt supply. In between these two entry, I have just compared. But yes, if I will talk about entire schedule 3, so I can say now there are 10 paras. The total two entries are being covered. Rest of the entries are no reversal, are attracting no reversal of ITC. Yes, it requires the reversal of ITC. Is that clear to you? Okay. Yes, yes, Sanjay, very true. So let me go back to the our chapter to our chapter only. See, then yes, they have also covered para 8b of the schedule 3. Okay. Oh, they have also written that explanation 17 subsection 3 which track the reversal, not such sale, high sea sale is not included in the exempt supply for the purpose of reversal of common ITC. Circular 33 of the custom, it is not GST, it is the customs which says that importer would be required to furnish the entire chain of the document such as original invoice, high sea sale, detail of the service charge, commission paid, etc. to establish the link between the first contract price of the goods and the last transaction value. Third party shipment. Third party shipment, again, will it be taxed? Third party shipment क्या? Example. A registered person in India receive an order for supply the goods to B in USA. A find the goods A find the supplier C in Singapore, ask him to directly supply to B. Now the two invoices are raised. One by C. This is also very important. A is making the supply the goods to B, but actually C directly supply to B, and A does not make any supply movement of the goods. But what happened? C will raise the bill to A and A will raise the bill to B. Invoice number, let's say 1 and invoice number 2. Will this considered as export of the goods by A to B? First question. Will it considered as export of the goods by B, A to B? Yes or no? Will it be considered as export of the goods? Yes or no? Just allow me 1 minute. Just allow me 1 minute. If you are saying yes, give me the reason. And Sanjay, what is your reason? Now, it is not export because the definition of the export says that physical movement is mandatory. Whether goods are being physically moved from India to out of India, see, in the definition of export of the goods, we are very clear. We are not required to see any other point. We just need to see that physical movement is happening from India to out of India. If not happening from India to out of India, it means it is not export. So one point is clear, it is not export of the goods. Okay. Then yes, absolutely correct, which you clearly told. Let me go to our again main schedule 3 chapter. And schedule 3, merchant trading. Supply of the goods from a place in the non-taxable territory. What is the meaning of non-taxable territory? What is the meaning of non-taxable territory? I hope there is no ambiguity in that, right? What is the meaning of non-taxable territory? Outside India, absolutely correct. So taxable territory means India. So non-taxable means outside India. So from a place in the non-taxable territory to another place in the non-taxable territory without such goods entering into India. So because goods are not coming to India, therefore it is neither import nor export. It will not be treated as import. It will not be treated as export. So both the transaction will be excluded from the tax liability. And will it attract the reversal of ITC? Will it attract the reversal of ITC? Answer is no. Why no? Because we have discussed multiple times कि schedule 3 का only two entries are attracting the reversal, para 8A and para 5. ठीक है. Again, they have also covered the para 3 or 7 of the schedule 3 and no GST liability for the value of the third party consignment is not included in the exempt supply for the purpose of reversal of common ITC. Okay. Now, taxability of the goods imported by such goods imported by the unit or developer in the SEJ for authorized operation are exempted. Now, Sanjay, I think you have told one point. Okay. Now, or Ayush, you told. So these transactions are exempted from IGST. They will come into the ambit. It is not like they have excluded. But if the SEJ are importing the goods for authorized operation, in that case, the entire transaction will be out of GST. No, it will be taxable, but they are giving the exemption to that. They have given the reference of the notification. Now, taxability of the goods imported by EOU, goods imported by export oriented unit attract the liability of the custom duty. Import of goods by 100% EOU are governed by the notification. EOU are allowed duty-free import of the goods. Under the said notification, however, exemption from IGST will be subject to certain conditions. So for more detail, you can refer this custom notification. Import as baggage, passenger baggage is exempted from IGST as well as compensation cess. The basic custom duty at the rate of 35% are and the applicable social welfare surcharge is leviable on the value which is in excess of the duty-free allowance. Okay. Taxability of the supply of online money gaming by a person located outside India to a person in India. Again, section 14A by virtue of the entry 6 of the tax schedule. See here, schedule 3 means here schedule 3 doesn't mean that whatever the schedule we are talking about. Okay, it is the refer the tax rate schedule where the person located in India receive the online money gaming from a person located outside India. So we'll take a small break again, 10 minutes, and then we will read this clause. This point we will start after the break. Okay. So sir, Ashok ji, thank you. Ability of the supply of online money gaming by a person located outside the taxable territory of person in India. Section 14 capital A. We have understood this. Okay. So sorry. I'm one more point I like to clarify that online money gaming is taxable by virtue of the entry 6 of the schedule 3. What does it mean? Sorry, I have told something different, but let me correct. Schedule 3, which talks about neither supply of the goods nor supply of the service. What is the para 6? Specified see, actionable claim are leviable to GST. Answer is no, other than specified actionable claim. And now, other than specified actionable claim means they are liable to GST because Schedule 3 has excluded that. Now, because Schedule 3 has excluded that, so therefore it says that it will be taxable by virtue of the entry 6 of the Schedule 3. So I have told something else. Kindly excuse for that. So Schedule 3 means main our Schedule 3 only. Why they have linked with the entry 6? Because that talks about specified actionable claim are not covered. So therefore, online money gaming, which is a specified actionable claim, are excluded from the schedule 3, so it becomes taxable by virtue of that entry. I hope it is clear. Now it is clear. एक बार confirm कर दीजिए. Is it clear? This point which I have told you, मतलब correct ना? Correct Sanjay. Correct. So where the person located in India receive the online money gaming from a person located outside India, you told that supplier is liable to pay the GST. Okay. For the purpose that supplier will take the single registration. Okay. Under the simplified registration scheme, they need to furnish the GSTR 5A. GSTR 5A is the return which is to be furnished by OIDAR also. OIDAR means Online Information Database Access Retrieval, as well as by this person also. Okay. This person means online money gaming. If the overseas supplier has the representative in India, then such representative will get registered and pay the IGST. And if they does not have the physical presence and does not have the representative, neither has the physical presence nor has any representative, it may appoint the person in India for the purpose of paying IGST. In case of failure to comply with the above provision by the supplier, any information generated, transmitted, received, or hosted in any computer resources used for the supply of online money gaming will be blocked for accessing the people. Okay, that we have discussed. Now, this part for the timing we are keeping hold. Let's move to my PPT. So we will come back on this part if time permit. What is the deemed export? Whether deemed export is export, yes or no? Give me the answer, yes or no. Whether deemed export is export or not. Whether deemed export is export or not. Answer is no. Answer is no. Why no? Because the term export has been defined. Because the term export has been defined. See, export of the goods. It should be physical move from India to out of India, right? Do you agree? For the export, the goods, I'm talking about goods, it has to be moved from India to out of India. But for the deemed export, does not leave India. For the export, deemed export does not leave India. But what is the export? Export means goods leaving India to out of India. These both are not contradictory. Don't you think that these both are contradictory to each other? One is saying export will be treated only when goods leave India, and deemed export is when the goods does not leave India. It means deemed export is export? No. No. And because it is not export and therefore it is zero rated supply? Yes or no? Will it be zero rated supply? Yes or no? Answer is no. It will not be zero rated supply. So the deemed export is altogether a different transaction. A different transaction. It is a B2B transaction. Then why they have word associated with the export? Because they like to give some benefit. They like to give some benefit, which is refund. They like to give some refund related benefit. So they have made separate classification of this particular transaction. Okay. A deemed export means supplies of the goods as may be notified under Section 147. Section 147 says that the government, on the recommendation of the council, notifies certain supplies of the goods as deemed export, where goods supplies does not leave India and payment is received either in Indian rupees or in convertible foreign exchange. So what are the conditions? Condition says that the government, on the recommendation of the council, notify certain supplies of the goods as deemed export, where goods supply does not leave India and payment for such supplies received either in INR or in convertible foreign exchange if such goods are manufactured in India. Okay. Now, notification 48 by 2017 says, so these are the goods which has been notified. What are the conditions for deemed export? That it should be notified goods. Correct. Supply of the goods by the registered person against advance authorization. Proviso has been added later on in that notification. The goods so supplied when export have already been made after availing ITC on input used in manufacture of the such export shall be used in the manufacture and supply of the taxable goods other than nil rated and fully exempted, and certificate to this effect obtained from the chartered accountant and submitted to the jurisdictional commissioner or any other officer authorized within 6 months, provided that no such certificate shall be required if the ITC has not been availed on the input used in the manufacturing of such export goods. Supply the capital goods by the registered person against EPCG license. Then supply the goods by the registered person to the EOU, export oriented unit. Then supply the gold by bank or PSU specified in that notification. So what are the 4 transactions? Let me come back and talk about the, again, advance authorization. So the government by notify means only 4 transactions. I'm short, I'm writing against advance authorization, against EPCG license, then EOU, and last is supply the gold by bank and PSU against advance authorization. So can the deemed export be of service? Can the deemed export be of service? Answer is no. And what is the other condition? Goods does not leave India. Third condition, it should be notified. It should be only goods. It should does not leave India, and the payment can be received in any currency. And the last is manufactured in India. I hope it is clear what is the deemed export. Now we'll try to understand the meaning of merchant export. Now we'll try to understand the meaning of merchant export. What is the meaning of merchant export? Now, in this case, see, Ayush, DGFT, Director General of the Foreign Trade, is giving the license like advance authorization, EPCG, wherein some tax rebate is there. So you can procure the goods without payment or partial payment of taxes. You can export the goods with something like that. So there are some condition associated and there are some benefit associated, because these are motivating the foreign, and therefore these licenses are being given. ठीक है. And therefore, so like for example GST I'm talking about, ठीक है, when like say Mr. A is making the supply to Mr. B against advance authorization, ठीक है, against advance authorization, then either Mr. A or Mr. B, any one party can take the refund. So this part we will discuss in the refund chapter, but why refund? Because it is a deemed export transaction. Clear? ठीक है ना? Now the A of Delhi has given the supply to B of Mumbai, and Mr. B has given the supply to Mr. John USA. Now, which transaction is export? A to B or B to John? Which transaction is export? The B to Mr. John. So this is actually export. Then what is merchant export? See, point to be noted, it is not the merchant export, it is the merchant exporter. The transaction is not the merchant export, it is merchant exporter. What is the transaction? Supply by A to any person who actually export in the same manner. मतलब ए बी को सप्लाई कर रहा है और बी उसी फॉर्म में आगे एक्सपोर्ट कर रहा है, तो ये वाला जो ट्रांजेक्शन है ए टू बी इज कॉल्ड एट द मर्चेंट एक्सपोर्टर. सप्लाई टू मर्चेंट एक्सपोर्टर. वर्ड मर्चेंट एक्सपोर्ट मत यूज कीजिएगा, अवॉइड कीजिएगा. नॉर्मली you may find not find, I'm not going into the argument, but the correct understanding would be supply by A to Mr. B who is actually export, then A to B will be leviable to 0.1% because of this notification, subject to the satisfaction of the few conditions which are given in that notification. क्या conditions है? वन बाय वन बात कर लेते हैं. We'll talk about one by one. Merchant exporter means a person engaged in the trading activity and exporting or intending to export the goods. As per this notification, the exemption shall be subject to the following condition, namely, recipient shall be registered with an EPC or commodity board recognized by the Department of Commerce. So who? Recipient, Mr. John ki Mr. B? Here we are talking about supply to merchant exporter. Who should be registered? Mr. B or Mr. John? Mr. B. Correct. Should be registered with the Export Promotion Council or Commodity Board. Recipient shall place the purchase order PO to the supplier, that is Mr. A, for procuring the goods at concessional rate. What is the rate? What is the rate? What is the concessional rate? 0.1%. 0.1%. It is, if you are saying CGST, then it will be 0.05. My dear friend, it will be 0.05. ठीक है ना? And the problem is no one submit, no one satisfy this condition. Mostly the people forgot this condition, and copy of the same shall also be provided to the tax officer of the supplier. What is the problem if this is happening? If this is happening, then problem is, if this is happening, then problem is,
when the audit happens, GST audit, they will be making it taxable to the highest rate.
absolutely
With interest penalty.
taxable, because satisfied the condition, and this is one of the condition given in the.
सर
Yes,
आई हैव वन क्वेरी सर।
please, please.
तो ये प्लेस एंड ऑर्डर है जिसको रिसिपिएंट यानी कि बी मुंबई वाला दिल्ली को देगा, राइट? और
Right.
मुझे है ना ने कंसेशनल रेट में चाहिए कि मैं एक्सपोर्ट करूंगा करके। तो अभी वो जो प्लेस ऑर्डर है वो टैक्स ऑफिसर को कौन देगा? रिसिपिएंट बी वाला देगा या ए वाला देगा?
बी देगा। मतलब एक्चुअली ये रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बी की है। वो चाहे ए के थ्रू सबमिट कराओ
हाँ,
या बी डायरेक्टली सबमिट करो, बट ए को ये इंश्योर सी हु इज चार्जिंग लेसर टैक्स। पॉइंट इज हु इज चार्जिंग लेसर टैक्स।
ए इज चार्जिंग लेसर टैक्स।
The responsibility, if condition are satisfied, then the responsibility would be on A. Levy the higher tax. Let's say the item is 28% taxable. तो डिफरेंशियल किससे डिमांड करेंगे? जिसकी सप्लाई है।
ए से सब डिमांड करेंगे, बट एज पर दैट लॉ whose responsibility it is to submit to the officer?
It is only saying that recipient, see, if you read the language, it says that recipient shall place the order, that is okay, and copy should be gone to the tax officer or the supplier. And obviously, because they are saying the copy, because they are saying in the same sentence, so in my bare understanding, this responsibility lies on the recipient. But the problem is they will, if this condition are not satisfied, then they will raise the interest penalty, etc. on the A. So therefore, in practically, I can say that A should ensure कि either B has submitted directly, or if B not submitted, then A shall submit.
तो प्रैक्टिकली वो है, लेकिन एज पर द लॉ तो सेम सेंटेंस में यूज किया है। तो
So
इट इज द रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द रेसिपिएंट। व्हेन इट इज द रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द रेसिपिएंट, यू कैन नॉट कलेक्ट द टैक्स फ्रॉम द सप्लायर हु इज नॉट एट ऑल रेस्पॉन्सिबल पर्सन फॉर दैट।
what is my understanding? So based on that, I can say when at the time of granting the refund to recipient under inverted duty, you can deny that refund. That's it.
हाँ, फिर अभी एक और भी इशू आएगा ना सर। दिल्ली का जो जुरिडिक्शन ऑफिसर्स रहेगा, टैक्स ऑफिसर्स, और मुंबई का टैक्स ऑफिसर, दे आर एंटायरली डिफरेंट।
Right.
मतलब अलग अलग इंसान रहेंगे ना सर।
Correct.
तो
Correct.
हाउ
Well,
द मुंबई मुंबई टैक्स, अभी वो रिसिपिएंट है, वो रिफंड के लिए अप्लाई करेगा तो वो मुंबई टैक्स ऑफिसर्स के पास जाएंगे। तो मुंबई टैक्स ऑफिसर
मालूम भी नहीं होगा. Right.
मालूम भी नहीं पड़ेगा।
Correct. Only I can say कि because they have clubbed in the same language, so only if they like to impose some like say penalties or something like penal provision to the recipient, then only the Mumbai tax officer can say that kindly provide the copy or kindly provide the acknowledgement, because it is not the electronic process.
यस सर।
It is physical process, and when you submit something, then they will definitely give the acknowledgement, right?
यस सर।
So we'll ask time of the sending the refund, I will inform them kindly provide the acknowledgement.
ये ग्रे एरिया है सर।
अब मुझे क्या लगता है, सी वेरी गुड पॉइंट दैट यू हाईलाइटेड. द पॉइंट इज इट वाज गुड, द रिफंड वाज नॉट सो मच इलेक्ट्रॉनिकली. बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स आती थी उस टाइम. अगर मैं बात करूं 17 में, सो यू नीड टू विजिट द डिपार्टमेंट, एंड एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम प्रायर टू दिस यू नीड टू टेक द हार्ड कॉपी ऑफ द बॉन्ड. बहुत ज्यादा टाइम लगता था. नाउ because after 7 year 8 year everything is being established properly, so I can say now this provision would be would be deleted, considering that the everything is electronically. Now you can take the refund electronically and very fast. Now what I'm saying, in the inverted duty structure they bring the 90% refund, right? Recently the amendment are made. I'm not talking about this from exam point of view. I'm talking about practical point of view. कि IDS may be refund 90% provisionally like export मिलने लग गया. तो I think now this provision would be not too much, मतलब कि I can say give the benefit to the exporter. So maybe it can be redundant. Supplier shall supply the goods to the registered recipient on a tax invoice. ठीक है. Recipient shall export the said goods within 90 days from the date of the tax invoice by the registered supplier. Recipient shall indicate the GSTIN of the registered supplier and tax invoice in the shipping bill or bill of export as the case may be. So these are the some conditions that he will indicate the GSTIN of the supplier and the tax invoice in the shipping bill. So Yogesh, have you done any practical case on this or practical training on this?
यस सर, अब मेरा जहाँ काम करता हूँ वहाँ पे एक मर्चेंट एक्सपोर्ट किए थे सर, टैक्स ऑडिट हुआ, उन्होंने 5.1% पे सप्लाई किए थे, वो 5% गुड्स था, तो बोले कि उन्होंने हमारे ज्यूरिडिक्शन ऑफिसर में आप लोगों ने सप्लाई नहीं वो दिया नहीं है, तो पूरा टैक्स लगाएंगे करके चल रहा है सर। तो एक्चुअली सप्लायर को कोई गलती नहीं है, इट इज द रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द रेसिपिएंट, तो सप्लायर क्यों भरे टैक्स?
इस पॉइंट का भी कैसे इंटीमेट करते हैं कि वो शिपिंग बिल,
ये शिपिंग बिल में सब कुछ था कि वो लोग दिखा दिए कि देखो मेरे शिपिंग बिल में मेरा जीएसटी नंबर भी है, मेरा सब कुछ है, इनवॉइस नंबर है, एवरीथिंग इज प्रेजेंट इन द शिपिंग बिल, स्टिल दे आर सेइंग ना ये लिखा हुआ है कि यू हैव टू फॉलो ऑल द कंडीशन, सेकंड कंडीशन फॉलो नहीं किया हम लोग भरवाएंगे। इसलिए मैं पूछ रहा हूँ कि वो सेकंड कंडीशन, फर्स्ट थिंग रिसिपिएंट अगर मुंबई में तो दिल्ली आके कैसे सबमिट करेगा, फर्स्ट थिंग है यार, रिसिपिएंट का रिफंड ओके है, लेकिन सप्लायर पे इतना टैक्स का बर्डन बढ़ेगा ना सर, क्योंकि वो अभी टैक्स ऑडिट एक साल में नहीं होगा, वो कम से कम 3 4 या 4 साल 5 साल बाद होता है, तो इंटरेस्ट इतने 3 साल 4 साल का इंटरेस्ट, फिर उसको ऊपर पेनाल्टी, वेरी हाई।
वेरी ट्रू।
अगर अपील में भी जाते हैं तो वो परसेंट 10% आप पहले भरो, वो अगर हाई मर्चेंट एक्सपोर्टर रहा तो इट विल बी इन क्रोस।
करेक्ट, वेरी ट्रू, वेरी ट्रू। सो फाइन, जस्ट 1 मिनट का ब्रेक लूंगा, मीनवाइल यू आर रिक्वेस्टेड टू रीड ऑल द कंडीशन, जस्ट 1 मिनट। So the conditions: the recipient shall be registered with Export Promotion Council. Then recipient shall place the order at concessional rate, and he should submit the copy to the jurisdictional tax officer of the supplier. Okay. And then supplier shall supply the goods to the registered recipient on a tax invoice. Recipient shall export the said goods within 90 days and from the date of tax invoice. Recipient shall indicate the GSTN of the registered supplier and the tax invoice number in the shipping bill or bill of export as the case may be. So, Yogesh, this is like manually, or it is like in the system itself we can report the same in the shipping bill?
शिपिंग बिल में रिपोर्ट हो जाता है सर कि उन्होंने सप्लायर का इनवॉइस नंबर और जीएसटी नंबर जाता है सर। हाँ, आपको शिपिंग बिल में दिख जाएगा सर कि हमारा जो सप्लायर है उसका जीएसटी नंबर और टैक्स इनवॉइस।
Nice. And recipient shall move the goods from the place of the registered supplier directly to the port or ICD, airport or land custom station from where the goods are to be exported. और ये indirectly move कर सकते हैं, first registered warehouse में आ जाएंगे and then it will move to the port. Why? Because if you like to do the aggregation, suppose you have purchased the goods, like let's say B has purchased the goods from 10 parties. B has purchased the goods from 10 parties. Now he like to aggregate all the 10. He's not in the manufacturing, he's into the trading. But like say he has purchased the goods from A, from X, from Y, from Z. Then he can take the goods in the warehouse, custom bonded warehouse, where he can do the aggregation and then he can do the export. And for this, there is an additional requirement. There should be acknowledgement from the warehouse operator. There should be acknowledgement from the warehouse operator that yes, this aggregation work has been done. ठीक है. If the registered recipient intend to aggregate, then he can do so by moving the goods to the registered warehouse and then move the same to the port, ICD, etc. In case of the condition 7, the registered shall endorse the recipient of the goods on tax invoice and also obtain the acknowledgement. When the goods have been actually exported, the recipient shall provide the copy of the shipping bill containing the details of the GST and the tax invoice of the registered supplier, along with the proof of export journal manifest (EGM) or export report have been filed to the supplier, as well as jurisdictional tax officer of the supplier. Now we are talking about Rule 96 capital A that talks about export of the goods or service under bond or letter of undertaking. Any registered person availing the option to supply the goods for export without payment of tax prior to export, bond or letter of undertaking in RFD 11 to the jurisdictional commissioner, binding himself to pay the tax along with interest, is specified in section 50 subsection 1 within a period of 15 days after the expiry of the 3-month from the date of the issue of the invoice for export if the goods are not exported out of India. So any registered person availing the option to supply the goods for export without payment of tax, then prior to export, matlab you cannot do the filing of LUT after the export. It has to be the prior to the export. In RFD 11 to the jurisdictional commissioner, now it is online. So earlier you need to submit the same hard copy, but now it is online. Binding himself to pay the tax along with interest under section 50 subsection 1 within a period of, it means he is giving the undertaking that he will export the goods within 3 months. If he will not do the export of the goods within 3 months, then after the expiry of the 3 months within 15 days, 3 महीना जैसे कंप्लीट होगा उसके 15 दिन में he will do the export. He will do the payment of this along with interest. Same in case of export of the service, अगर उसने LUT के through export किया है, he is giving the undertaking that he will bring the foreign currency within a period of 1 year. If he will not be able to bring, then after the expiry of the 1 year, within 15 days, he will pay the tax along with interest. The details of the export in the GSTR1 electronically transmitted to the electronically transmitted to the system designated by the custom. क्या नाम है सॉफ्टवेयर का? The ICE gate. We are normally calling it ICE gate. ठीक है. So this ICE gate. So the data from GSTR1 that we are reporting, and it will goes to the custom and it will match. If both will match to each other, then there will be some export entries, etc. That will be later on. But I'm here and saying the details of the export invoice contained in R1 electronically transmitted to the custom for matching. Where the goods are not exported within 90 days, the registered person fails to pay the amount mentioned. So एक तो goods क्या किया, export नहीं किया 90 days में, plus he failed to make the payment. The exports are allowed under bond या LUT shall be withdrawn and the said amount shall be recovered as per section 49. तो क्या हुआ, जो आपने export on payment of IGST under LUT करना था and you have not made the payment to the government, then this recovery shall be made according to section 79. Export as allowed under bond or LUT withdrawn in terms of the sub-rule 3 shall be restored immediately when you pay the amount. The board may by notification specify the condition and the safeguard under which LUT may be furnished in place of the bond. If you read this notification, then it says that requirement of filing of the bond has been dispensed with except in case of the defaulting exporter, that is more than 250 lakhs. 197 condition in respect to admission. So that circular we will discuss in the refund chapter, not now. ठीक है, that's circular because it is related to the refund. ठीक है. Now circular 108, very good circular, which talks about if you are sending the goods. So I'm not using the word exporting the goods. Sending the goods to out of India and the purpose is exhibitions. So why I'm not using the word exporting? Because export is a supply. So first instance there has to be the supply and then it will be the zero rated supply. तो सबसे पहले ट्रांजेक्शन को सप्लाई तो होना पड़ेगा टू कॉल एज जीरो रेटेड सप्लाई. If I am sending the goods to out of India for exhibition purpose, will it be a supply? No, it will not be a supply. So if it is not a supply, can it be zero rated supply? Again, answer would be no. Then in that case, what is the compliances, etc., which has been clarified in the circular 108? It says that if the goods were sent or taken out of India for exhibition or consignment for export promotion, then it should not be, it should be, see, for example, will it be a supply? That was question being analyzed by the circular 108. Then it says that if you are sending the goods to out of India for exhibition purpose, will there be any consideration? No. If there is no consideration, then transaction would be taxable. Transaction would be taxable or would be treated as supply even without consideration where it is written. Can you tell me? The transaction will be considered as supply even without consideration. Falls under Schedule 1. If the transaction falls under Schedule 1, then it will be treated as supply even without consideration. What is the Schedule 2? What is the Schedule 2? Can anybody tell me what is the Schedule 2? I can say bifurcation, whether my transaction is supply of the goods, whether my transaction which is a supply, is it goods or service? Is it a supply? The transaction which is a supply now further bifurcated whether it is a supply of the goods or supply of the service. That has been specified by the schedule 2. Coming back, so my transaction which is without consideration can only be treated as supply if it is falling under schedule 1. That whatever I'm discussing, that is being written in the circular 108, circular 108. Okay. Hence, it is clarified that activity of sending or taking the goods out of India for exhibition purpose or on consignment for export promotion does not constitute the supply as there is no consideration. Since such activity is not a supply, therefore it cannot be zero rated supply, because zero rated supply के लिए भी पहले तो supply तो होना पड़ेगा. First, it has to be the supply, then only it can be zero rated, right? Now it says whether any goods, any records are required to be maintained for sending or taking goods out of India. Can anybody tell me? We have discussed one provision. If you are sending the goods, which is not a supply, then what is the time limit within which goods should come back? Otherwise, it will be treated as deemed supply. कोई एक provision पढ़ा था हमने tax invoice accounts and records chapter में. So what is the time limit within which goods should come back? Otherwise, it will be treated as deemed supply. कहां पढ़ा था ये? Section 31 subsection 7 में. Where we have read this? Section 31 subsection 7 में, and which talks about Section 31 subsection 7 which talks about sales on return, correct? Sales on approval, correct? Sales on approval basis. तो sales on approval मैं goods send कर सकता हूं. In that case, what will be the underlying document? Will it be tax invoice? जब मैं goods send करूंगा, what would be the underlying document? Will it be tax invoice? It will not be tax invoice. Then what will happen? It will be the it will be the delivery challan as per the rule 55, and that's what it is written in the answering to this question. These 2 points has been written to answering this question. रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन सी सो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, अभी तो हम रिकॉर्ड्स की बात करें, जस्ट वेट फॉर दैट पॉइंट व्हिच आई वाज. सो कोई रिकॉर्ड मेंटेन करना पड़ेगा. यस, दे हैव मेंटेन द रिकॉर्ड इन द annexures, दे हैव गिवन द annexures. So in this they will need to record what is the documentation for sending the goods, as the activity is not a supply, so therefore it will be classified as sales on approval, wherein the goods are sent or taken out of India for the approval of the person located abroad, and it is only when the said goods are approved then the actual supply taken place. So sending or taking the goods out of India is covered under 31 subsection 7. Read with rule 55. Specified goods shall be accompanied with the delivery challan. ठीक है, issued in accordance with the rule 55. And last important point, sending or taking the goods out of India is not a zero rated supply. Therefore, execution on the bond or LUT as required in section 16 is not required. मतलब जब मैं गुड्स बाहर भेज रहा हूं, बेच नहीं रहा, आई एम नॉट सेलिंग दैट गुड्स, आई एम सेंडिंग द गुड्स, then it is not a zero rated supply. Because it is not a zero rated supply, therefore the requirement of furnishing of letter of bond or letter of undertaking is not required. When the supply of the specified goods taken off said to be taken place, it says that they have given the reference of 31 subsection 7, and the time limit is same 6 months, which you have answered. Key the from the removal, and if the specified goods are sold within the specified period, then supply is effected in respect of the quantity sold on the date of that sale. Whether invoice is required to be issued when the specified goods are not brought back either fully or partially within the stipulated period. When the specified goods taken or sent out of India have neither been sold nor brought back either fully or partially within the stipulated time period of 6 months, then the sender shall issue the tax invoice on the expiry of the 6 months from the date of the removal. Correct? So once the 6 month is cross supply, then you have to issue the tax invoice. When the refund claim can be preferred in respect of specified goods sent or taken out of India but not brought back. Very beautiful question. It is clarified that sender can prefer the refund claim even when the specified goods were sent or taken out of India without execution of the bond or letter of undertaking. The point to be noted: have you furnished the bond or LUT at that point of time? No, you have not furnished. So if he is otherwise eligible for the refund as per the relevant provision which we will discuss in the further classes, then in respect of zero rated supplies, after he has issued the tax invoice as on the date has been clarified in the question number 4. It is further clarified that refund claim cannot be preferred under rule 96 as supplies taking place at the time when goods have already been sent or taken out of India earlier. So by this, we have completed the today class. Let me start the quick round of question answer. Before that, if you have any question, please ask me. If you have any question, let me give you 2 minutes. If you have any question, you can unmute yourself and ask, and then otherwise, I will take the quick round of the question answer.
सर सर्विस का एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं तो अप टू 20 लाख रजिस्ट्रेशन जरूरत नहीं है ना सर एक्सपोर्ट ऑफ सर्विस के लिए? गुड्स के लिए तो इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट, राइट सर?
And what is the reason? You know what is the reason? Because see, मैं जैसे मैं एक्सपोर्ट करता हूँ, ट्रांजेक्शन
यस सर,
वर्ड एक्सपोर्ट भी ट्रांजेक्शन जीएसटी में 2 ही है, या तो इंटर या इंट्रा.
यस.
देन 7 सबसेक्शन 5 इट इज इंटरस्टेट सप्लाई, तो मेरा जो रजिस्ट्रेशन का रिक्वायरमेंट है, तो आप देखिए अक्टूबर 2017 में एक वो नोटिफिकेशन आया था, फिर नवंबर में आया था, which is absolutely correct limit है. तो ITC, then you cannot take the refund. अगर परचेज आपने उसके लिए कुछ किया है, लेट्स से कंप्यूटर परचेज किया, कंप्यूटर का तो वैसे भी नहीं मिलेगा, करेक्ट। अदरवाइज आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट इनपुट एंड इनपुट सर्विस, तो रिफंड नहीं मिलेगा बिकॉज यू हैव द पॉइंट ऑफ मतलब कि यू कैन यूज द लेटर ऑफ अंडरटेकिंग ऑप्शंस एंड टेक द रिफंड, दैट इज द ओनली प्रॉब्लम। अदरवाइज द रजिस्ट्रेशन वुड नेवर बी मैंडेटरी, बट अगर गुड्स ₹1 का भी सेंड करो, इट इज मैंडेटरी बिकॉज इट इज कवर्ड इन द सेक्शन 24। एनी अदर पॉइंट? संजय, आयुष, एनीवन? Fine. So let me start the quick round of the question answer as we do in the normal all the classes. And should we take in the registration in that case? संजय, गुड्स के केस में कि सर्विस के केस में? हाँ, सी आईटीसी तो तभी मिलेगा ना, वी कैन टेक द आईटीसी ओनली व्हेन वी आर, सी इफ यू रिकॉल द सेक्शन 16, रीड विद द डेफिनेशन व्हिच वी हैव, सो अगर पर्सन रजिस्टर्ड है तभी आईटीसी मिलेगा, राइट? सो 16 सबसेक्शन में रिकॉल करो, एवरी रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन शैल बी एंटाइटल्ड टू टेक द आईटीसी, तो रजिस्टर्ड होना जरूरी है फॉर टेकिंग, ठीक है? So let's move further. Quick round of the question answer for the revision of entire today class. See, supply to SEZ unit is always zero rated supply. Supply to the SEZ unit will always be zero rated supply. No. So when it will be the zero rated supply? When it will be the zero rated supplies if it is for authorized operation. So now talk about if you are making the supply to the SEZ unit for non-authorized operation, then which tax you will charge? Which tax in state? So I am registered in UP and my recipient SEZ is also in UP, but I am making the supply within UP to UP, but it is not for authorized operation. Will it be IGST or will it be C plus S? Still IGST because such. Can you give me the reason why it is always IGST? Your answer is correct. I fully agree. Your answer is correct. Why it is IGST? Can you give me the reason? और कोई specific reason? Any other specific reason? Sales is considered as non-taxable ticket. Okay. Any other reason? Because if you read the 7 subsection 5 clause B of IGST Act, section 7, I am giving you the reference of section so that even after the class you like to cross check, you can cross check. Even after the class, if you like to cross check, you can do. You can do. Okay? That is the only reason. That is the only reason. Now, my point is, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Can I file the refund application for export of the service without realization of the foreign currency? For service, answer is no. And what about goods? Answer is yes. Do I need to give back the amount of refund if I could not bring the foreign currency on goods? What is the time limit? What is the time limit? Within how many days? What is the time limit to give back the refund? What is the time limit to give back the refund? 30 days. Will it be with interest or without interest? Will it be with interest or without interest? It will always be with interest. Now try to understand. I'm giving you one example. I'm asking one question which I have not discussed in the class. Let me ask now. Mr. A has exported the goods to Mr. John under LUT. Export of the goods I'm talking about. He is not limit is for there. That has been expired and he could not bring the amount in the foreign currency. Finally, he put the amount in the bad debts. Finally, put on these transactions. Whether is required to pay the GST on this transaction. This is the analysis question which you all need to do. But as of now, please tell me the immediate answer which comes to your mind. He has never applied for the refund, but he could not export on LUT, not IGST, on LUT. So my point is, do he need to pay the GST? No, because he could not bring the amount in the foreign currency. Do he need to pay the tax? Why? 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 Whether his transaction is export or not export. See, whether his transaction is export or not export, it is export. So LUT is correct. LUT is correct. LUT is correct, right, Sanjay? LUT option which is chosen, that is correct, right? Agreed with. And the proviso says that if you not bring the foreign currency within the time limit of the FEMA, then you need to give back the refund. If I have not taken the refund, should I have to pay back the refund? अगर मैंने रिफंड लिया ही नहीं तो क्या मुझे कुछ पे बैक करना है? Do I need Mr. A has not taken the refund, then why he has to pay back? चलो यहाँ पे भी नहीं है. Then which provision talks about? Now talk about 17.5H. 17.5H. What was that? Goods lost, stolen, destroyed, write off, disposed of by way of the gift of. Lost, destroyed? No. मैंने गुड्स सेल किया था. Actually I sold. Then I find the GST. This type of the provision, and therefore this is not from exam point of view. Yogesh, आपने क्वेश्चन पूछा था, so I'm giving the practical insight on that. This will be arguable because it is not covered in the 16.3 का proviso. I have not taken the refund, so nothing to pay back. ठीक है ना? ये तो जस्ट मैंने आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग. क्या सर्विस का डीम्ड एक्सपोर्ट हो सकता है? Will the service be considered as the 4-5 point? नहीं 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 संजय जी, संजय हकू जी, संजय हकू, सॉरी, मैं इसकी बात नहीं कर रहा हूं संजय, मैं इसकी बात नहीं कर रहा हूं, मैं नोटिफाइड गुड्स की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं. मैं बात कर रहा हूं वो चीजें क्या जरूरी है जिसके कारण मैं ट्रांजेक्शन को डीम्ड एक्सपोर्ट. पहला, नोटिफाइड होना चाहिए. दूसरा, गुड्स होना चाहिए. इट शुड बी मैन्युफैक्चर्ड इन इंडिया, डज नॉट लीव इंडिया, एंड अमाउंट शुड बी इन 0.1. Can I choose the option of LUT in case of the deemed export? Can I choose the LUT option in case of the deemed export? No. Whether deemed export is export? क्या deemed export export है? Deemed export is not export. It is not export. Can you tell me the simplified registration scheme is applicable for two categories as of now, which we talked about? Simplified registration scheme is applicable for two categories. Can you tell me that which two categories? Which one is goods and which one is service? Out of this, which one is goods and which one is service? Very nice. Now, in which case the transaction will fall under reverse charge? In which case, in which of the transaction, in which of the situation, the transaction may tax liability will be on the recipient? Correct. OIDAR giving the service to the registered recipient. These are taxable by which entry of which schedule? See, OIDAR, online money gaming, is considered as specified actionable claim. No, sorry, I'm excluding OIDAR. Let me repeat once again. Actionable claim is goods or service. पहले मैं क्वेश्चन पूछ लेता हूं. Actionable claim is goods or service? Actionable claim is goods. ठीक है. Under the Schedule 3, entry number 6, whether actionable claim are leviable to GST. Normal actionable claim are leviable to GST. Normally actionable claim are leviable to GST. Para 6 says that no, it is not leviable. But they exclude some type of the actionable claim. Which actionable claim has been excluded? Specified actionable claim. Specified actionable claim, correct? Now give me one example of the specified actionable claim. Give me two examples of a specified actionable claim. Let me talk about, give me two examples of a specified actionable claim. Two example. One OMG is correct. What about second example? क्या आप OIDAR add कर सकते हो? Can you add OIDAR in the second example? Can you add OIDAR as second example of a specified actionable claim? Why no? Why no? Why no? Absolutely correct, because OIDAR is a service and actionable claim is goods. So it can be lottery, betting, gambling. These are the examples. This could be the example. Lottery. Lottery is also goods. Lottery is also goods. Okay. Betting, gambling. So you can read the definition of a specified actionable claim. I'm leaving up to you. But yes, that is this is the point which I like to clarify. Now, if they do not have the representative in India and they do not have the physical presence in India, then what to do? In that case, क्या करना पड़ेगा उन्हें? They should appoint one person. If they do not have the physical presence and they do not have the representative, then they should appoint one person. They should appoint one person who is liable to pay the tax. Correct? In case if I'm importing the goods, then IGST, for the calculation of IGST, do I need to add custom duty? Will I add custom duty? Social welfare says yes. It means for calculating the IGST, I will add all taxes. I will add all taxes excluding this GST. Will I add all taxes excluding GST? Yes, I will add. Now tell me which entries talks about that schedule. See, now tell me the two transactions of the schedule 3 which are considered as exempt supply. Which are considered as exempt supply. Tell me the two entries which are considered as exempt supply. First is correct, sale of warehouse goods and filing the bill of entry before home consumption. Not file the bill of entry, not sale of the warehouse goods before filing the bill of entry for home consumption. Yes. Nice, Sanjay. In SEZ, nahi. These are exempted, but it is not covered in the schedule 3. Sale of the warehouse goods before filing the bill of entry for home consumption, and second is sale of land. Para 5, sale of land. These two entry attract the reversal. Whether high C sale is taxable in GST? Will it attract the reversal? Will it attract the reversal? Yogesh, high seas is covered in the para 8 clause B of schedule 3, and the para 7 talks about from out of India to directly out of India. Now tell me, if I have the branch representative office in India, I'm located out of India and I have the branch office in India, will that transaction be considered as export? will that transaction be considered as export? Answer is no. Suppose if there is a subsidiary company and holding company, will it be treated as export? If it is holding or subsidiary, what is the main reason? Can you tell me the main reason? Correct. They are the different person. One is Indian company and one is the foreign company and body corporate, which are registered in the respective countries ka law, and therefore they are treated as different person. And for fifth condition, the distinct person which they talk about, there has to be the same person, but they are having the different establishment in India and out of India.
सर अभी सब्सिडरी है वो कंपनीज में रजिस्टर्ड है. सपोज इफ इट इज ए पार्टनरशिप फर्म, ओके सर, पार्टनरशिप फर्म भी इट इज ए डिफरेंट पर्सन, तो पार्टनरशिप भी रजिस्टर्ड कर सकते हैं, पार्टनरशिप भी रजिस्टर कर सकते हैं.
अगर मान लो वो आउट ऑफ इंडिया में रेस्पेक्टिव स्टैच्यू में रजिस्टर्ड है, एज्यूम करता हूं में रजिस्टर्ड है, तो यू कैन अप्लाई द सेम लॉजिक.
नहीं, इंडिया में अभी पार्टनरशिप फर्म में वो रजिस्टर्ड है और बाहर है वो कंपनी है, वो फॉरेन कंपनी है, वो रजिस्टर्ड है वहाँ पे, तो इट विल बी अ डिफरेंट पर्सन.
पार्टनरशिप फर्म विद द फॉरेन कंपनी,
हाँ, एक कंपनी है वो फॉरेन कंपनी है और यहाँ पे इंडिया पार्टनरशिप फर्म है. पार्टनरशिप फर्म इज कैन आल्सो बी ए रजिस्टर्ड एंड इट इज ए सेपरेट पर्सन, तो वो सप्लाई भी अलग हो सकता है ना. इट कैन बी एन एक्सपोर्ट, राइट?
एंड द सेम एनोमली ऑफ दिस सर्कुलर. सर्कुलर में जब पर्सन की डेफिनेशन थी, तो संजय पार्टनरशिप फर्म इज नॉट बॉडी कॉर्पोरेट. आई फुली एग्री संजय, बट जब पर्सन की डेफिनेशन है तो वहां पे वो सेपरेट लिखा गया है पार्टनरशिप फर्म, राइट?
यस सर.
Correct. And they have also written the body corporate separately. It means they are the two different person and not the same person, and therefore I can apply the same anomaly or same logic or same concept of circular 161, and I agree with you. Fine. Last question for the day. Can you tell me 2-3 conditions? Can you tell me 2-3 conditions in the chat that supply to the merchant exporter? Supply to the merchant exporter which attract 0.1%. Can you tell me 2-3 conditions which has to be satisfied? Any 2-3 conditions? नहीं नहीं संजय, ये डीम्ड एक्सपोर्ट का कंडीशन था, डीम्ड एक्सपोर्ट का कंडीशन था. These are the condition of the deemed export notified transaction you are talking about. I am talking about merchant exporter का supply का जो notification 40 था ना, which we talked about, it should be registered something like that. Yes. You remember that registered with EPC? Yes, yes, yes. Export Promotion Commodity Board or Export Promotion Council. Yes, yes, yes. Correct. The export should be made within 90 days. Very true. And then GST number of the supplier, invoice number should be mentioned in the shipping bill or bill of export. संजय, एक कंडीशन आपसे आनी चाहिए, कम से कम एक कंडीशन आनी चाहिए. At least one condition has to be there from your side. Any one conditions? Any one conditions? No? And no problem. Place an order to the supply, so purchase order का copy उसके jurisdictional officer को shipping bill. After the export, the copy of the shipping bill should go to the supplier and as well as jurisdictional tax officer, etc. Now Sanjay, you tell me whether only trading are allowed or trading and manufacturing both are allowed in case of the supply to the merchant export. Absolutely correct. Only trading. अगर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करते हैं तो we cannot do the merchant supply to the merchant export. For the purpose of manufacturing, it is not allowed. Can they do aggregation work? Can they do the aggregation work? Yes, they can. Yes, they can do. Correct. So आज की क्लास में ये कंप्लीट करते हैं. We'll meet on again Sunday and then we'll complete the which work. Aggregation नहीं, aggregation मतलब suppose करो they purchase from different parties. and now they like to do the aggregate and then they like to send. Correct. This type of the work I am asking. Aggregation, because they've used the word aggregate in the particular notification. So by that, I have taken this word. Thank you. We'll meet on Sunday, and we'll do the completion of this particular balance chapter, and then export import हमारा complete हो जाएगा. Thank you very much. Goodbye to all of you. Ashok ji, from my side, it's done. Sir, we can